In this episode, we help a viewer purchase the perfect car for his son.
The Toyota Corolla comes up against the Mazda 3.
And we advise a viewer who's interested in purchasing a Nissan NP200.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Guide. Every week we try and provide you with useful advice, whether it relates to buying, selling or maintaining a vehicle. If you have a question for the team, you can send an email to buyersguide@ignitiontv.co.za containing as much information as possible, as well as a picture of yourself.
And joining us in studio to help resolve those troubling automotive issues are new to Buyer's Guide, G. Salukazana from Westbank and Gift Makoti from Gifted Media. Welcome, guys. Nice to have you back, Gift.
Good to be here.
Yeah, good to have you guys back. Thanks for joining us here in studio
And
today.
G, you're going to get a whole lot of trouble from me. All right, let's get into our first question, which comes from Carlo, who wants to buy his son his first car and is considering two options. The 2014 Renault Clio 4 with 163,000 kilometers and the 2015 Hyundai Grand i10 with 90,000 kilometers. He's concerned about the service and maintenance costs for both vehicles and the potential repair expenses on the Clio. Which vehicle would be the best buy for Carlo's son? Let's start with the ladies.
I think Carlo is more concerned about reliability as well as affordability. So if I actually look at what we can actually afford him right now, I would recommend a lower mileage car, which in this instance is the Hyundai Grand i10 over the Clio. Addition to that, we're also looking for safety, especially that this car is actually for a student. However, I'll also advise that he needs to make sure that there's a warranty and a maintenance plan.
Well, if you can get them with, the Renault is going to be a problem, 163,000 Ks on it. It's not going to have any sort of warranty. It'll be an aftermarket plan. Gift, what are your thoughts on this?
I think she took the words out of my mouth. I definitely would. Good one. Definitely I'll vote for the 2015 Grand i10 in this case. It's got a bit of much more lower mileage. Also, I haven't heard any horror stories about this versus to the Clio 4.
You've heard lots of horror stories.
Yes, one, the turbo, and I've also heard some electrical issues there with the vehicle. Look, so I'd rather go for the 2015.
The Clio 4 is, I know the son will be looking at it and saying, oh, it's a prettier car, it's got a more powerful engine and everything, but they're not as reliable as the Grand i10. And with 90,000 kilometers, literally half the kilometers that the Renault has, the i10's a far better buy. If he doesn't like the i10, there are other options, Kia Picantos, Suzuki Swifts, all in the sort of price range. So have a look around. But the Renault would be a no-no for me because at 163,000 kilometers, it may not give you trouble now, but in a year's time, then you're going to be, like Gift said, maybe the turbocharger fails. That's a 20,000 rand repair. Timing chains are
a problem on that.
If you do have problems with them, they are expensive because it is a lot more technical, the engine, than a i10. Because an i10 is just the basic, 1.2
for me, it would be the Grand i10. There's no other option here.
It's a much better car.
Much better car.
It's
got and it's got a very good reliability factor.
Yes.
The i10's proven itself. I'm not saying the Clio hasn't, but as Adam and I know,
to be honest.
it hasn't. Yeah, you're right. Adam's absolutely right. We see it in the workshops. Timing change, turbochargers, electrical issues, the whole trip. So for me, it would be the Grand i10. Here's your car, son. Go to varsity.
It's a great entry-level student car.
Absolutely.
Certainly,
Okay, so we're going to move on to our next question, which is from Rita Bila. He currently drives a 2013 Toyota Etios hatch that's showing signs of wear due to his daily drive of about 250 Ks. Gee, he drives a lot.
Man.
He seeks a family car that's enjoyable for long trips, emphasizing ample luggage space and fuel efficiency with a budget of 200,000 Rand. He wants to know which is the best buy between a 2016 Mercedes-Benz A200 diesel, a VW Golf 7 TSI, and a 2016 Audi A3 2-litre TDI. Let's go to you, Gift. What do you think of those three cars?
Out of the three cars, the Golf 7, I've checked, it's got a little bit of a much more bigger boot space than the other three cars. And because it's a 1.4, I'm assuming that's a petrol. For someone who travels 250 kilometers, might be fuel economical, but also if you're looking in the premium side, the Mercedes A200 CDI is not a bad option. If you're not looking at a space issue and you're actually looking at the premiumness out of the all three. But my vote goes for the Golf 7 1.4.
He said he's looking for ample luggage space. None of those cars have ample luggage
Yeah.
space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Literally, it's 2 suitcases.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you're done.
Yeah.
Gee,
Well,
what do you think? I mean, there's some nice cars there. Would you buy any of those?
I wouldn't recommend any of these cars, especially that he's a family man looking for a bigger space as well. Firstly, if he wants to get financed properly, we can actually look at least a PD of 240, which in this instance, he will actually get to put down a 40K deposit, 30% balloon max. Then he could actually get into a Haval H2.
Yeah.
I think that will actually help him a lot.
An SUV, something,
Yeah.
Yes.
something a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, what my concern here is 200,000 Rand, it's a nice budget. But these are the wrong cars to buy for 200,000
Yep.
Rand. Because all of these cars are extremely expensive to maintain. And all of these cars will be out of their warranty period. And what will happen is let me give you an example. You got a Mercedes A200
CDI.
CDI. It needs a water pump. There's 6,000-7,000 Rand. Golf 7 TSI, he'll want a DSG. The gearbox fails, that's 50,000-60,000 Rand. An Audi A3 2-litre diesel, that's a great engine, but it must probably also have the DSG gearbox, which is a problem, can be expensive. None of them are spacious. I would say for 200,000 Rand, rather buy something a little bit more sensible. You know, don't buy a badge. Buy something that's not going to cost you a fortune. Because, you know, like you mentioned, you're going to finance the vehicle. So he's going to finance it for, let's say, anything from 3 to 5 years. So that's a long time. You've got to keep that car, and you've got to maintain it for that 3 to 5 years, however long you decide to keep it. I would rather say to you, go out and buy an SUV like the previous generation Toyota Urban Cruiser,
Yes,
or a
Grand
Suzuki
Vitara.
Brezza, or Vitara,
Yeah,
or a Ford EcoSport, something along those lines, that you will pick up a decent one in that price range, because you're not buying a car that was 600,000-700,000 Rand. Now it's 200,000 Rand. Rather look for something like that. They'll be fuel efficient, they'll be spacious, they'll be nice to drive. Sure, you're not going to impress your friends, but you can have a bigger bank balance than your friend with the fancy cars.
I
They're
just want to
always
ask
paying
G
out to get
something.
them fixed.
At 3.5, his maximum monthly installment at 3.5.
Yeah.
What's his looking at maximum money spend?
For his budget, firstly, he won't find a car for 200K flat.
Without having a residual.
Yes, without having a deposit and a residual. Further to that, we need to make sure that it's a newer model as well.
Yeah,
So
because you don't finance anything over 5 years.
over 10
And
years.
these are-
10 years.
Yes,
these are
it's over
8-year-old
yeah.
cars.
Already, he won't be able to sustain and keep this car.
Yeah.
You know, that is why I'm recommending that he will have to get at least 40K deposit to accommodate his installment of 3.5, but with a 30% residual as well.
Now, this is something that on this show we always say to people, don't buy a vehicle with a residual. Now, I know from the bank side of you look at it differently, say, yeah, well, you can get into this vehicle, but we always find, and I'm sure you find it a lot with Westbank's clients, is that they'll come to that period of time, they have to find now that 30,000 Rand, or 40,000 Rand, 50,000 Rand, 100,000 Rand, whatever it is, to settle the finance, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't have it. I need to refinance for another 2 years to do that. Or they have to go and sell their car, as opposed to rather buy something within your budget. Don't look at something with a residual. Rather look for something a little bit less in your budget. Look around and you can find something. But it's difficult because you're going to find something that's older, and then the banks don't want to finance it. Unless, of course, you get that, oh, we'll finance it, but it's 20% interest rate, you know? That kind of a story.
We're not that bad when it comes to interest rates. But
Oh, look at that. Listen to this.
Let's move on to the next question before we get into a fight.
Stay tuned, because after the break, the Toyota Corolla comes up against the Mazda 3.
And should a viewer keep his current VW Polo Life or trade it in for a used BMW 3 Series? Welcome back to Buyer's Guide. Sandile hails from Durban and is in search for a vehicle for his daily commute. He's particularly interested in the latest models of the Toyota Corolla hatch and the Mazda 3. Sandile is seeking advice on which option offers better reliability, lower maintenance costs, good warranty, fuel economy, parts availability, and fits within his 550,000 Rand budget. Gift.
They've got a beautiful budget though.
Yeah.
And this person is looking at getting a new car.
Yeah.
I mean, with the budget of 550, your options are broad.
Yeah.
But in comparison to the two cars, as both of you guys being technical people who are mechanics, you would know that the Corolla will probably be a little bit much more better than the Mazda, or vice versa.
They're both
Excellent cars.
He's got
Yes.
two brilliant cars, but he's left one out, and I'll tell about you that one later.
So in this case, there's a reason why we've seen a lot of Toyotas that have been driving on the road for 15,000 and e-hailing people are using them.
Yeah.
You look at the clock, it's 400,000.
Yes.
The Corolla gets my vote in this case
Yeah.
because it's been in the market and it's been proving to be reliable over the years, and I'll just vote for it. The Corolla Hatch XR, I think the 550 budget, if it was personally me, I would look a little bit further than that, but maybe I'm just young and naive.
Yeah, yeah.
But the Corolla gets my vote, yeah.
Do you like the Mazda and you like the Toyota Corolla?
I actually like both.
Yeah.
However, if I'm looking at fuel efficiencies, I'll actually vouch for the Corolla. However, if you compare the two interiors, I'm more comfortable with the Mazda.
beautiful.
Because it's
It's
just
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah, very well
It
put
gives you
together.
that sense of premium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's one more that I would add on there. So I'm actually driving a test car at the moment. It's the new Honda Civic RS, and it comes with every feature. And in my opinion, it's actually a nicer car to drive. It's most probably the best saloon car that I've driven in a very, very long time. It's better than the Toyota Corolla to drive, and it's better than the Mazda 3 to drive as well. But you're saying, but I've only got a budget of 550, so why am I telling you about a car that's 725,000 Rand? Because at the moment, I see some of the dealers are knocking 150,000 Rand off that car to try and sell them. Because obviously saloon cars they're not great sellers. The only ones that sell are BMs and Mercs.
Yeah.
And then the Corolla for the e-hailing bunch. So if you want something that's slightly different, that's got a lot more features and safety features and interior features and comfort and everything, do yourself a favor, go and have a look at the at the Honda Civic RS. It is a 1.5 turbo, goes like hell. It's got all the features, it's comfortable, it's got lots of innovative stuff in it. It's a really, really good car. And you'll pick one up in your budget of 550 from the dealers because they're trying to move them.
So can you imagine how much money the dealers are making if they can knock off 150,000 Rand gift?
Yeah,
Hey?
it's got a lot.
No, the dealers don't make, they make 8%, that's all.
Sounds like a seasoned
No,
salesman.
they get incentives from the factory because obviously the factory has brought out some and maybe now it's getting near the end of the year and we've got 2024 models. They've got 200 of them sitting somewhere.
Yeah.
Like we better get rid of them because next year we can't sell them as 24 models. They can sell them as 23 models. So yeah, have a look at that because I think it's a fantastic car. It's most probably been one of the nicest drives I've had in a very, very, very long time.
And you know, at one time, nobody wanted station wagons. Okay. Now everybody wants a station wagon. For me, a hatch is just that.
Yeah, it's the hatches are small. Yeah.
It's just that. It's a station
Yeah.
wagon.
Okay.
You know, now Adam's taking us back to saloons,
Yeah.
sedans.
Well, there's not many of them around.
Okay, our next question is from Jay, the proud owner of a 2022 VW Polo Life DSG with 28,000 kilometers, which he's had for 6 months without any issues. He has 5 years left to pay off the car with 1 year remaining on his maintenance plan. Concerned about the long-term reliability of the 1-liter TSI engine, Jay wants to know what he might need to worry about major issues arising with his car. He's also considering trading his Polo for a used BMW 3 Series G20 priced around 500,000 Rand. Gift, I know what a bad idea this is, but I want you to hear it from you.
The pressure. Looking at the 2022 1.1 liter engine, I say he must just keep the car and get a warranty for his engine. Because if he's been driving the car for 6 months and you're already tired of the car, what else are you going to do if you move on to a different vehicle, like for instance, if he goes for a 320i or a 318i, he might also get tired in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't see anything wrong with the DSG
And it's
in this
low
case.
miler.
It's low mileage, 28,000, and it's been driving